Imagine having the time and money to follow your passions and live life on your own terms. Welcome to Podcasting Mastery, where you'll learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle. Let's grab a cool tropical drink and then join James and the Turtle in the Secret Beach Hut Studio.
Yes, this is James Martell, and I am tucked into the Secret Beach Hut Studio, and I'm very glad you've decided to join us today. This week, I'll be continuing our conversation about developing a lifestyle business so we can all spend less time doing business and more time enjoying our families, more time traveling, and more time doing all of the things that matter to us the most. It's for these reasons we continue to focus on strategies for both developing a passive monthly income stream and passive ways of developing new clients and customers for your business. So with this in mind, I am here today with Kathleen LeGrys, host of the Wellness Business Podcast, which was created specifically to focus on the core principles of building a profitable wellness business. Each weekly episode is filled with action steps and case studies dedicated to one core principle of business to get new clients. I really haven't met too many people that don't need more clients. Grow a responsive email list, increase brand awareness, generate more income, launch new products, and learn the latest social media strategies. So if you are a health coach, a fitness trainer, naturopathic doctor, or other wellness professional, or a coach in another industry looking to grow your business, you're in exactly the right place. Kathleen is a trusted mentor and a trusted resource to thousands of wellness professionals. Kathleen and her co-host Karen Paddock launched the Wellness Business Podcast as a labor of love, created specifically to focus on the core principles of building a profitable wellness business without all the fluff, sidestep, costly mistakes, and fast-track growth. Kathleen's done-for-you programs are used by health coaches, fitness trainers, naturopathic doctors, and other wellness professionals around the world to empower them to change lives on a global scale. Kathleen, welcome to Podcasting Mastery.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me. I'm honored. This is fantastic.
Well, it's great to have you on board. And first off, congratulations on episode number 50. I know we talked about that before we got you on the show. That's great.
Thank you. I know. It just feels like this big milestone. I know compared to your podcast, maybe not so much, but as a beginner, it was a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's great. And there's nothing wrong with getting to number 50. That's a big milestone. So congratulations on that. And I want to talk about that at length maybe after our break. Before we do that, though, I want to talk with you about yourself and the health and wellness industry, I guess. And then we want to talk about some of the challenges that those who are looking to start a wellness business or those who have an existing wellness business, some of the biggest challenges that they have. So we'll dig into that. But let's start off, if you wouldn't mind, by just sharing your own personal story and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a wife, mom. I have 2 teenagers. So when you were talking in your intro there about having a lifestyle that allows you to focus on the things that you want to focus on most, that totally resonated with me because spending time with my family is incredibly important. I started out as a health coach several years ago when I decided that I wanted to be home more with my kids. And after developing my own programs for my clients, I started offering them to other health coaches because I thought, well, maybe they are struggling in the same areas that I am to have more a streamlined process and not keep continuing to reinvent the wheel and things like that. So when I started out as a health coach, I had no idea this is what I would be doing, fast forward 5 years. But basically what I do now is provide done-for-you content that coaches and nutritionists can use in their business. So this is, I'm starting my 6th year actually right now, and I love it.
So what drew you into, I guess, first the coaching and then into the more expanded role?
Really good question. As my kids were in school and I just found that I had more time on my hands, I say in my last life, right before I had kids, I worked in the dental field and I loved it, but I didn't want to go back to that. I wanted to find something that would give me total flexibility with my schedule, something I was passionate about at the time. So first I became certified as a personal trainer, but realized, I don't want to be boxed in. I don't really want to be working at a gym. Then I found out some people that had become certified as health coach. I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. Just going through my own journey of weight loss and getting healthier, that just seemed like something that was going to be the perfect fit for me.
So when you were getting started and you started to look to attract clients, if you could go back to the earlier days of your business, what were some of the challenges that you came up against?
Oh gosh, pretty much the same challenges that I see today with the people that I work with is just figuring out a way, how can you cut through the noise, right? There's so much competition really out there, especially in the health, wellness, fitness space. How can I attract the people that I want to work with? So first it was figuring out who was my ideal client. How am I going to attract them? How am I going to let them know that I'm here? And then how can I let them know how I can help them? And I think for anybody that is starting out a business, I think that's just such a common thing, even if you have a brick and mortar business, right? Just figuring out who do I want to serve? And then how am I going to find them and reach them and pull them into my world?
I know in our business, in our other business where we're more in the website development arena and we create websites for businesses, one of the first exercises that we go through with them is we have a questionnaire that we actually take them through step by step over a conference call, and we record their answers, because it's amazing. I've found that so many business owners really have no clue who their ideal client is. What's been your experience there?
So true. And I understand why, because this is what I hear from health coaches all the time. They don't want to eliminate anybody. They're afraid to limit, or what they think is limiting, who they can help, when in fact it's the total opposite. So I think it's just really, being more informed, but also having that mindset shift where, okay, really, truly, if I focus on these people, I'm going to know where to find them, right? Maybe they're teachers, for example. I'm going to know where I can go to find teachers. I'm going to know how to speak to them in their language versus, I help everybody and I can help you get fit and healthy, right? I mean, that's not going to draw anybody in. And I totally understand why, because health coaches, nutritionists, that's not something they teach in school, right? And then you come out of school and you think, okay, I want to help everybody. And then you feel frustrated when that messaging isn't working and people aren't contacting you to help them.
So let's talk about messaging. And I would assume that once they identify their ideal client, then what do you do as far as the messaging?
Good question. So it depends on where you're starting. For some of the coaches that I know, part of that starts with their website, right? Their About Me page and their home page. Are you speaking to one type of person in particular? Or is your message more general? So those are two places in particular that you can kind of dial that message in. But especially on social media, if you're doing live streams, right? Like, who are you talking to? How much more compelling is it going to be to say, gosh, hey teachers, I know what it's like. Maybe you were a teacher before. No matter what your market is, you want to know what their pain points are. Where are they struggling? Maybe it's overweight moms that they're stay-at-home moms now. They've got 3 kids. They're struggling to find healthy meals for their family. They've got picky eaters. The overall message is going to be similar, but the way you cater it so that they raise their hand and say, oh my gosh, thank goodness you totally get where I am right now. You totally understand me.
My daughter, she's 27 now, married, 3 kids.
Oh, yeah.
Busy as a bee. She's quite a bit into health and wellness as well. But when you say getting to know who they are, so how deeply do you dive into figuring out who they are?
As deeply as you can. And this is one question I get a lot. Well, where do I start? Right? How do I find this out? There are a few different ways. Everyone is in Facebook groups. So if you're in some Facebook groups where your ideal client is hanging out, and that's why you have to know, who is this person? Is it a busy female executive over age 40? Is it a teacher, a real estate agent? Is it, it's depending on who it is. Think about, where can you find these people to kind of be a fly on the wall, see what conversations are going on, because you can guess, right? But until you really find out, the other way really is to ask people. Maybe you have some friends. So depending on what your niche is, say you decide your niche is going to be teachers of grades kindergarten through 5. So say that's elementary school. Do you know some teachers that you could take out to lunch, meet them for coffee, Find out what is their biggest struggle around whatever area you help them with. Maybe it's diet and lifestyle, maybe it's stress management, whatever your area of expertise is, even if it's getting on the phone with them. Because when you get them to open up the floodgate of communication, you are going to get the most incredibly valuable information. And the other thing is you can do, if you have your own Facebook group, you can do a poll. But in my opinion, there's nothing as good as having a conversation with someone one-on-one, because what they share with you, oh my gosh, and what that's going to do is help you know exactly how to position your program in a way that's going to resonate with and attract the people that you want to work with most.
I think sometimes, and I think this is human nature, true, it's just the way it is. I say we're sometimes a little bit shy to go out and, take somebody for lunch and then start asking them, these can be some pretty personal questions.
Right.
And I think yourself probably for sure, myself for sure, because we're podcasters, we're used to asking questions and just letting them answer the question. And I know when I'm doing a call with a client and I'm asking them about their business, you find they really love to talk about themselves and what's going on in their life. They're not holding back.
Yeah, that's very true.
And if you really need to know what you said their pain points. So what kind of questions do you ask?
Well, for me, so I'm not actually working as a health coach now, but I've done this exercise before with my audience, because my audience now is health coaches and nutritionists, fitness professionals. So I have done this before as early as, because I like to do it every once in a while just to make sure, okay, am I still on track here, right? I just like to refresh my memory. Mm-hmm. So I did this last month, as a matter of fact. I got on the phone with 8 different health coaches and just said, what is your biggest challenge right now with growing your business? So if this was a health coach asking someone else, when you would preface it and let them know what the conversation was going to be about, right? You don't just want to bring it on them. Hey, here's a cup of coffee, by the way, you need to preface it and let them know, just find out. So what are your biggest challenges right now with trying to stay on track with healthy eating and fitness?
Now, you talk about on your website focusing on the core principles of building a successful wellness business. Would you mind sharing a few of those?
Sure, yeah. And I think when you focus on what the core principles are, it makes it easier for you to know where to spend your time, right? We are all being bombarded with so many different options of how to market your business, the latest social media tips, strategy, platform, right? But when you keep some of the basics in mind, for me especially, it helps me know where I need to focus my time. So one of them is knowing who it is that you want to work with, because if you don't know that, you're going to continue to struggle, right? You're going to feel like you're on this hamster wheel. The next one would be, it's important to have a website, but one of the goals for having a website is to build your email list, right? You want to take people from being a visitor on your website to welcoming them into your world so you can stay in touch with them on a regular basis. So that's, building your email list and then staying in touch with them on a regular basis. And that means at least once a week. And I know for some people, especially if you're new and starting out, you think, oh my gosh, once a week, that's just too much. They're going to get tired of hearing from me. But the opposite is true, because if you're not top of mind, they're going to forget who you are. So that's important to keep in mind too. So
on the scale of 1 to 10 of things that they should be focused on, so I would think knowing your ideal client, you'd put that near the top, if not at the top. I guess the next one would be growing that email list. I know in my personal experience, I got started in the internet marketing space in 1999. And I'm embarrassed to say, and I had a huge success early on, but I didn't start an email list till 2004. I even kick myself to this day because the opportunity lost by not having a list. And I see it all the time where this, and I think it's what you're referring to is people, we're so busy. Where do we spend our time? And we're so easily drawn off in different directions. When it comes to building an email list, let's really nail that down because it's so important.
It is. So, okay, back to knowing who your ideal client is. You also want your free offer, what are you going to use to build your email list? Is that going to be, I recommend starting out with something simple. If this is your first venture into email list building, I don't recommend you go out and start with like a 5-part video series, right? You can start with something simple, but it has to be something that your audience will find valuable enough to give you their email address. So it needs to be specific to who it is that you want to help. I'll give you one example. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many different niches in the health and wellness space. It's almost mind-boggling, but I'll just give you one example just so we can kind of really dial this in. Say, for example, I'll say for you, James, right? Okay, so say you just found out you have an allergy or sensitivity to gluten.
Okay.
And it's been making you feel run down and just feeling bad and headaches and bloated and all that. So you have to cut out gluten from your diet. First of all, you're totally bummed because you love pizza. You love all glutinous things, right?
Lasagna.
This was actually my story, so I can relate. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I possibly going to figure out how to eliminate gluten from my diet? Because it's everywhere. It's in sauces, it's in medications, it's in things you would never imagine. So here you are feeling completely overwhelmed. So you go to Google, you type in how to go gluten-free. So say, for example, Health Coach A has a guide, 10 simple steps to go gluten-free. Chances are, James, you're going to opt in for that freebie. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's very specific. Is it about weight loss? No. Is it about living a healthy lifestyle? No. It's specifically about a particular topic, which is going gluten-free. So that's why the more specific your free offer is, the better response you're going to get from the people that you want to work with.
Yes.
Right. But back to, so we were talking about, your ideal client. So then the next step, right, is email. And then the third one really, I think, is social media, because social media is another way that you can get people onto your email list.
Social media is getting to be one of these challenging places to look at for many, because it kind of goes back to the early days of search. And the early, used to be Alta Vista, web crawler, and Excite. And then Google came along, and then it was Google and Yahoo. So you had only a couple places to focus. And you fast forward to today, we still have Google. We still got all that going on. But now we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I mean, it's just like, how do you pull that apart? What recommendations do you have for that? Because I know that can be very overwhelming too.
I love this question. And I think your listeners are wholly going to like my answer, in that you can't be and shouldn't be everywhere. Okay. If you're brand new, pick one platform where your audience is hanging out. If you want to get the most current stats on this, you can Google something like social media demographics per platform, and it'll give you a breakdown, age, gender, things like that. So you can kind of decide where you want to go all in. Because what I see happening a lot is, again, everyone's bombarded with so much information. Oh my gosh, you should be on Snapchat. No, you shouldn't be. You should be on Instagram. No. You should totally be on LinkedIn. And my friend is killing it on LinkedIn. So then you kind of bounce around from platform to platform, and you really aren't gaining any momentum on any one. So I recommend you start with 1 to 2 at the most. Go all in with those, because consistency is very important. People getting to know you is very important. So say, for example, maybe you want to pick 2, and maybe you've determined based on your research, okay, I know my audience is hanging out on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, perfect. So those are going to be, for now, your 2 platforms of choice. And then down the road, if you decide, I think really more of my audience now, I think they're kind of hanging out on Snapchat. Then decide, okay, is Instagram better? Is Snapchat better? I see this all the time where it's very overwhelming. You can't be everywhere at one time and do it well. I think it's better to pick 1 or 2, be present, be consistent, be engaging in those platforms to allow people to get to know you than to spread yourself too thin. Would you agree? What do you think, James?
I so agree. And it's almost like you're giving us permission to turn off.
Oh, gosh, please. For the love of all things social media.
Now, I'm here with Kathleen LeGrys, host of the Wellness Business Podcast. And after a real quick break, I'll ask Kathleen to tell us a little bit about her show We'll talk about increasing brand awareness and a whole bunch more right after a quick break.
More Podcasting Mastery from the Secret Beach Hut Studio after this.
Is your website out of date? Is it mobile friendly? Why not let us design your website and we'll make sure it looks the way it should on all platforms and devices, including iPhones, iPads, and other smartphones and tablets. We'll even optimize your site for search engines and make it easy for you to share your content and products on social sites such as Facebook and Twitter with built-in sharing features. For more information and to schedule your no-obligation free consultation, go to podcastingmastery.com/website. Once again, that's www.podcastingmastery.com/website.
Whether you're selling a product or service, looking to fill an event, or communicate with existing clients, a podcast will help you to disseminate information automatically 24/7, saving you time and money. In today's internet world, the sound of a compassionate human being will also help you to stand out, while at the same time garner feelings of trust, generate interest, grab attention, and lead listeners to take your desired action. If you're ready to create a podcast that produces results, James Martell wants to share with you his 21-step podcasting checklist to get you on the fast track to developing your own successful podcast. You can download this enlightening free checklist at podcastingmastery.com/checklist.
Is your podcast getting bogged down because of time or technical issues? Would you prefer to let someone else handle all of the production and technical details? Our virtual producer works remotely from a studio to provide you with production, technical, and creative assistance. Our virtual producer will call you and your guest by phone or Skype, and then record, produce, and upload each episode with SEO-friendly show notes to your website for automated distribution to social media and the major podcast directories. Sound intriguing? Visit podcastingmastery.com/virtual producer to learn more. That's www.podcastingmastery.com/virtual producer.
Now back to Podcasting Mastery from the Secret Beach Hut Studio.
Now I'm here with Kathleen LeGrys, host of the Wellness Business Podcast. Now, Kathleen, before the break, you touched on some really important points. Knowing who your ideal client is and not being scared to lose some clients who are not in the area that you want to be focused on. You talked about tailoring a message directly to them. You talked about the importance of growing your email list and giving them a great offer, a great incentive. And you gave a great example of, how to go gluten-free as if they happen to be in that area. And you talked about social media and freeing us up from having to tackle them all. So if we could now, let's move into the area of podcasting. Of course, Podcasting Mastery is about podcasters who are looking to grow a podcast of their own for the purposes of primarily attracting new clients and building their brand in a variety of reasons. But in your particular case, what led you to starting your show?
Really good question. And probably like a lot of your students, it was something that was kind of floating around in my head for probably about a year. And last January, I got a text from one of my dear friends who's also, now she's my podcast co-host. We're business besties. Hey, do you want to do a podcast together? It took me all of about 0.5 seconds to reply, heck yeah, let's do this. So it was something that we both felt was the next logical step for us that would allow both of our audiences. So we each have our own business, but it's catered to a similar audience. So we just knew there was something else we needed to do to reach them in another way, to offer something of value each week that would keep them coming back for more and helping them get to know us. And here's a great example. We just recorded our 50th episode, and we were talking about the fact that we had one podcast review that said, I feel like you're my best friend. Oh my gosh, it gave us chills because it really gives them a chance to get to know you on such a different level. So that was the main reason for doing it. We just wanted to have another platform that we could do on a regular basis. So we do every week that would just share tips. Because the other thing that was interesting is, so I have my own Facebook group, and so does my co-host Karen, and we see all these questions coming in, right? And we can't possibly answer, we have thousands of people in our group, so we can't answer every question, but what it allows us to do is pick some of those questions and then use those as episodes for the podcast.
One of the things I remember when I started my other show, The Affiliate Buzz, we started it in late December of 2003. And we figured we had enough content to do enough episodes, and we only did them twice a month, that we would have enough content to survive and keep us going for about 6 or 7 months, and then we'd be done.
Yeah.
And here we are 15 years later almost. We still do that show now. It's every week. It's amazing to me how many of us have a tendency to think, I don't know if I have enough to talk about. Or the other one is, maybe you could address it. I know this is a big fear. I don't feel that people are going to want to hear what I have to share.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts
Oh
on
my
that?
gosh. I should ask my co-host if she felt that way. I did, right? Do I have something of value to share? And is anyone going to want to listen to what I have to say? You know, it's just those doubts that you think, gosh, who am I to think I can start a podcast and that people will actually want to listen to me? But when you know what it is that they want to know about, oh my gosh, they're thrilled. They're thrilled that you're answering their questions, that you're giving them simple solutions to one or two areas where they're struggling. They absolutely fall in love with you because they're so appreciative.
Thing that also that you brought up, finding your ideal customer. Well, your ideal client, I guess, also becomes your ideal listener. You find that the crossover is usually perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, because when you're thinking about your podcast topic, okay, again, who do you want to help? And then what podcast topic would be perfect for that?
So many think about, okay, I'm going to do this maybe myself as a solo show, or should I have a co-host? What's been your experience working with? And tell us about Karen.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So she's amazing. We're like two peas in the pod. We joke around that we share the same brain. So we're very much alike. And I honestly don't think I would have taken the leap to do this on my own, partly from a time standpoint. So it is wonderful that we can share the load, right? We alternate who preps for a show. We both share, finding guests and things like that. There's a ton we outsource, but for the basics, we share the load on that. And we each have different strengths. So I think we complement each other really well. So for us, it has been amazing.
So what would you say your listeners like most about your show?
Based on the feedback, they like that we keep it light. We crack up, we like to have fun, and that we're also real. Like, we share some of the struggles that we've had. We don't want to be put up on a pedestal. We're still figuring out a lot of this stuff too, and we just like to bring them along the journey. I think the other thing they really appreciate, and people say this every week, is, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're covering this topic. I had this exact same question. Or last week, our topic was about how to do your About Me page, I think. No, it was your homepage. And someone said, oh my gosh, I'm working on my website right now. Thank you so much. So just like things like that, hitting on our topics that we're getting good feedback on, that we're on the right track.
This whole area, in to quote you, being real is an interesting thing in the online space, because we all have a tendency to want to only share the good stuff. We don't want to talk about the challenges or the struggles or the mistakes that we've made.
Yeah.
And I've got a student, her name is Tequila Doddard at tequiladoddard.com. And we helped her put a podcast together. And her brand is, and this is her brand, she had it already, is Stand Out, Be You. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. And she talks a lot about being real, and she's half crazy.
Yeah.
I love her to death. She's amazing. But this idea of being real, and I think this is what probably holds a lot of people back, is they think they got to do this perfectly and everything's got to be lined up just right before they can start. I would imagine even a wellness business, they're probably holding back a little bit on that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. And it's funny. I don't think this is really specific to any niche. I think this is us. It's so funny. So I have two teenagers, right? And especially my daughter. Oh my gosh, she's always on Snapchat, always on video. So that generation has no problem being real, being raw, videotaping themselves, doing whatever. But I think, across the board, it's like a vulnerability issue. I think sometimes we think whether it's we have a podcast or we have a live show, we have to come across as being perfect. I'll give you one example. And on our podcast, we were talking about doing live streams. And I was honest. I said, you know what? Just so you know, I was completely freaked out and petrified the first time I did my live stream.
Yeah.
It got easier. But so just being honest and being relatable is just so much. Oh my gosh. It makes you feel more relaxed that you're not putting on this facade, and it helps other people relate to you so much more. And that's who we're drawn to, right?
You bet. If we can relate to them, and on the flip side, if they can relate to you, that really has a big impact on being able to move forward. So we're going to jump into a real quick speed round, then we'll kind of wrap her up here. But before we do that, talk about how podcasting has affected your brand and getting to be better known out in this big world we call the internet.
Oh, good question. All right. So I'd have to say the people that were already part of my tribe, they feel so much closer to me, and vice versa, just by getting their feedback and me replying to them. So the people that kind of sort of knew me before really know me now, and they really trust me because I am being real. I'm sharing some of the good, bad, and the ugly, you know. So I think it's probably, other than bringing new people in, I think it has really just strengthened the relationships that I was already starting to have with people. And this is whether they're a customer, whether they're, on my email list. So wherever they are as part of the customer journey with me, I think anytime you're putting yourself out there as a leader or an expert on a certain topic, especially with a podcast, I think it elevates your status to a degree that obviously you know what you're talking about. Well, hopefully you do. If you have a podcast, right? It gives you a platform to reach a lot of people, and they kind of trust you just by nature of the fact that you have a podcast, but it doesn't mean they're going to stick around, doesn't mean they're going to do business with you unless you can provide a good quality show.
Yes. Let's do this. Let's jump into the speed round. These are some very difficult questions.
Oh, gosh.
No prep on you.
I'm scared.
I don't think so. Windows or Mac?
Mac.
Yeah, it seems like podcasters are definitely of the Mac world. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Cat or dog person?
Oh, I have both, but dogs are my fave.
We'll tell the cat. Most recently read book?
Okay, so one is called Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. And that's actually a good book about being real, showing up as you are. So I'm going to say that one. Oh, wait, sorry, I got another one because I was reading two at the same time.
Yeah.
And Blue Ocean Strategy.
And what's that about?
Oh, that's a good one. That's an amazing book about how to stand out. You don't want to be part of a red ocean where it's a feeding frenzy with sharks and the ocean is full of blood. You want to stand out and be in your own blue ocean.
Yes.
It's really good. Really, really good. So it kind of ties into what we were talking about.
You bet. Favorite vacation spot?
Oh, Maui.
Oh.
And I say that because we just went there in January and I can't believe I haven't been there before and I can't wait to go back.
You're the first person to say that on Podcasting Mastery. And that's my favorite place on the planet. Is that not the most spectacular? We could just stop right now.
Let's just...
And we'll do a show on Maui. What was your favorite thing about Maui?
Oh, my... You know what? I have to say, I have never felt so relaxed in my entire life. I think that just being unplugged, enjoying stand-up paddleboarding and the food and just the pace was amazing.
It's unbelievable. I don't know what it is. It's the magnetism of the earth there or something, but everybody that I've ever talked to that's ever been to Maui, they go, oh, Maui.
Yeah. Okay, so I think you're going to have an event there, James.
I think so.
Good plan, good plan.
Are you a techie or a non-techie?
Non-techie.
Perfect. Favorite podcast?
Ooh, okay, probably the one I listened to the most, Amy Porterfield, Online Marketing Made Easy.
I love Amy. And shout out to Amy. We need to get you on Podcasting now.
What? Yes, we do.
What is an online tool that you use every single day that you would absolutely hate to have to live without?
Okay, there's a few. I probably would have to say Trello, organizing, especially if you know it for the podcast. It's been fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
I love to go hiking. I love skiing, ice skating, stand-up paddleboarding.
In Maui.
Yeah, I did in Maui. I totally wiped out, but it was still fun.
So here's the last question. What is the most rewarding thing you've been able to do for someone else because of your podcast?
Well, I'd have to say maybe what we're doing to celebrate our 50th episode, we're doing a giveaway. So we're giving away Amazon gift card. Like, I love to give stuff, right? I'm a giver. I love it. And we're giving away a 1-hour strategy session with my co-host Karen and myself. So I think that just is fresh in my mind because we're just recording that episode today. So I'd have to say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now do us a favor. Wrap this up for us. Give those listeners who are maybe in their coach or their chiropractor, naturopath, anybody that's in your genre there, or actually any coach would benefit a lot from what you talked about today. Kind of wrap it up, give them some words of encouragement. We know it's always a struggle in business. And then share your contact information where people can learn more about what you do and tell us a little bit more about what you offer.
All right. So what I'm going to share is probably different than what you may think, because what I have noticed is that it's definitely not just about knowing the strategies to put into place. It's about getting out of your comfort zone, getting out from behind the computer, facing the fear. So for example, maybe there's something you kind of know that you should be doing in your business. Maybe it's live in-person workshops. Maybe it's being guest on podcasts. It could be anything. So I have a feeling pretty much everyone that's listening knows at least one thing they should be doing on a regular basis, but fear is holding them back. And, I'm not new to this either. I feel fear on a regular basis, but I make myself do it anyway because I know that's the only way I'm going to continue to grow, right? As a person and in my business. So whether maybe your fear is doing live stream video, whether it's getting out, public speaking, it could even be doing your first couple of blog posts. For some people, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. So wherever you are, commit to a date that you're going to do it and take action, because each little step you take builds on the next, right? Builds on the last one. So maybe for you this month, it's a blog post, and maybe in a couple months, you're going to be on a podcast, or you're going to submit a guest article. I think so much of what we don't achieve in our business is based on the stories we're telling ourselves that we're not good enough. Who are we to do this? How dare we? Well, I want to challenge you and say, how dare you not share your gifts with the people that need it?
Tell us about your done-for-you programs. They're sound very interesting.
Oh, okay. So I provide done-for-you, which are white label coaching programs and content that health coaches and nutritionists can use with their clients. So say, for example, maybe you want to run an online program, but you don't have the time to put one together yourself. I do it for you, and then you get to brand it as your own and then use it to help your clients.
And where would listeners find that online?
And you can find that at healthcoachsolutions.net. And you can find out about me. And if you click on the programs page, you will see the different programs that I provide for health coaches.
Wonderful. Well, Kathleen, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story, and all of the rich detail that you've provided has been just great.
Thank you so much. My pleasure, my honor. Thank you so much.
I can see we are out of time. If there's something Kathleen mentioned here today that you missed or you'd like to review, do keep in mind we always take all the show notes for you, and you'll find them for this particular episode at podcastingmastery.com/PM068. A quick reminder that if you happen to be listening to this episode on podcastingmastery.com, do click on the subscribe button. We'd love to have you on board. If you happen to be listening on YouTube, of course, there's a subscribe button there as well, or you can just visit podcastingmastery.com/subscribe. Kathleen, thanks again, and to all of our podcasting friends, we'll catch you in the next episode of Podcasting Mastery.
Thanks for joining us in the Secret Beach Hut Studio. If you are ready to start your podcasting adventure and to learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle, go ahead and download the free Podcasting Mastery Checklist at podcastingmastery.com/checklist and start your adventure today. But don't wait, the checklist won't be free for long. So be sure to grab your free copy today at podcastingmastery.com/checklist.